Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Melanie Lambert, occupational therapist and sensory coach. Today, I'm tackling a really important and often misunderstood topic: what adult sensory meltdowns look like. Sensory meltdowns aren't just something kids experience. In fact, as life gets more demanding and the world becomes more overwhelming, these responses can not only continue into adulthood, but sometimes intensify. If you have a low threshold for sensory input, or if you support someone who does, you might have experienced or witnessed these intense moments. I'm here to shed some light on what's really happening during a sensory meltdown. First off, it's crucial to understand that sensory meltdowns are a very real experience. An adult sensory meltdown is an uncontrollable brain response to environmental, emotional, social, or physical stimulation. It's like your brain flips a switch. It feels like a short circuit, and suddenly you can't think clearly. It's an intense sign of distress, where you feel like you have no control and are desperately trying to regain it. Most often, it feels like the only way to get relief is to act outwardly, whether that's crying, yelling, or withdrawing. Unlike a tantrum, which is often goal-orientated, for example, a child wanting to get what they want, a sensory meltdown has no purpose. The person is not trying to manipulate the situation or be dramatic or selfish or seek attention. It is definitely not something anyone chooses to have. You can't just tell your brain not to do it again. As an adult, a sensory meltdown can be deeply humiliating, especially because adults are expected to hold it together. There's often an awareness that you're out of control, which can lead to deep embarrassment or anxiety about how others are perceiving you. A sensory meltdown is a reflexive, protective response. Your nervous system goes into survival mode because everything in your world becomes a bit too much and your brain simply can't process or cope with what is happening. If you're neurodivergent, such as being on the autism spectrum or having ADHD, or living with sensory processing disorder, your brain may interpret everyday input as far more intense than someone else might. What might be a normal level of input for some can be incredibly overwhelming for you. You may have been described as being sensitive or overdramatic. Meltdowns often feel excruciating and distressful, and the person experiencing one wants to do anything to escape the situation. This is both mentally and physically exhausting. Understanding what an adult sensory meltdown looks like and what causes it is the first step towards better support and self-compassion. Remember, these are not chosen behaviors. They are a deep, uncontrollable response to an overwhelmed nervous system. So what causes meltdowns? Meltdowns are typically triggered by high levels of stress. They often build up gradually. It's not just one thing that sets it off, but often the final straw after a series of stresses. Common triggers for sensory meltdowns include sensory overload. This is a big one. It could be lights that are too bright, excessive noise, too many people in your space, or multiple conversations happening simultaneously that make it impossible to focus. Even seemingly subtle things like a particular smell, such as someone's perfume, can trigger overwhelm. Unwanted touch, especially light touch, can also threaten the nervous system. Secondly, information overload. Simply too much information coming in at once. Thirdly, unexpected changes, such as disruptions to routine or unforeseen events, can be very unsettling. Fourthly, physical factors. Being tired, hungry, or unwell can significantly lower your capacity to cope with daily stresses, making a meltdown more likely. And lastly, pushing past limits. You might feel a frenzied energy where you get in the zone and you just keep going, but you know deep down it is likely to lead you to feeling really burnt out. So what are some of the warning signs of a meltdown? Many people report pre-meltdown warning signs, which can include things like irritability or snapping at small things, restlessness or pacing, sensory discomfort like covering your ears or becoming increasingly bothered by lights, sounds, or textures. You might also feel emotionally fragile, like you're holding it together by a thread, and the smallest disruption could cause you to unravel. So, what does a sensory meltdown look like? It's important to remember that meltdowns look different for everybody. However, there are common signs and behaviors you might observe or experience. Emotional dysregulation is a big one. Your emotions feel like they are all over the place. This can manifest in being really grumpy, having no patience, or you might feel overwhelmed to the point of crying or shouting. Secondly, social withdrawal. You may have a strong desire to be alone, like a hermit. You don't want to be around anyone. This includes not wanting to talk to anybody, not wanting to call people back, and feeling like incoming calls are intrusive. Engaging in conversation, even with loved ones, can feel overwhelming. Thirdly, sensory overload. Eye contact can feel weird, much harder, or even painful. You might find you have no tolerance for noise or people talking. And everyday sensory elements, like, for example, brushing your teeth, can become a challenge. Fourthly, cognitive shutdown. You can't think straight. Words disappear. You may struggle to explain what's wrong or make decisions. Problem-solving or negotiating abilities break down. You feel zoned out. You may engage in repetitive behaviors known as stims, such as hand flapping or bouncing on your tiptoes, pacing, tapping, drumming, picking at your skin, nails, or hair. Sometimes this can also involve negative behaviors like banging your own head or hitting yourself. You might run, hide, lie on the floor, or throw things. And lastly, there's internal distress. You have a general sense of, I do not want to do anything. Nothing feels good. It can be hard to identify your needs. Even special interests, which are usually a source of joy, can suddenly feel daunting. Afterwards, you may feel really bad about how you behaved, especially if you've harmed yourself or others. And it can be hard to explain to other people why you snapped, especially if you don't fully understand your sensory triggers yourself. So how do you manage a meltdown? If you are in the midst of a meltdown, the goal is to de-escalate and create safety, physically, emotionally, and sensory-wise. Some things that might help include leaving the triggering environment, sometimes simply walking away from the trigger and finding a quiet, low-stimulation place really helps. Secondly, close your eyes, put noise-canceling headphones on, lie down with a weighted blanket. You can also use calming stims like rocking or squeezing a stress ball or wrapping up tightly. It's important to stay hydrated and to eat. Sometimes your body just needs basic fuel. And lastly, allow yourself to zone out freely. Let your mind wander without judgment. That blank space can be exactly what you need to reset. It's important to make a self-care plan when you are calm, not during a meltdown. Try journaling and reflecting afterwards to help understand your triggers for next time. If you are supporting someone who experiences meltdowns, your role is so important. Your empathy can make a real difference. Here's how you can help. Stay calm. They need your steadiness, not more chaos. Avoid judgment. Don't say, it's not that bad, or just calm down. Trust that the experience is real and overwhelming. Ask about their needs in advance when they're in a calm state, not in the middle of distress. Offer a quiet presence. Sometimes they just need you near without talking. And lastly, be curious, not critical. Try saying, I'm here, what would help right now? Even just being a safe, non-judgmental person in their life can be incredibly healing. Understanding what a sensory meltdown looks like, what causes it, and how it feels is the first step towards greater self-compassion and deeper compassion for others. If you have experienced a meltdown, please know you didn't choose this, you didn't cause this. You're doing your best to regain control, and sometimes that journey is messy, and that's okay. After a meltdown, it's common to feel guilt or shame, especially if things got loud, scary, or confusing. But try to be gentle with yourself. You're learning and your brain is doing its best to protect you. If you are ready to take the next step towards managing sensory overwhelm more confidently, I'd love to support you. I work with individuals just like you through sensory one-on-one coaching, helping to create practical, personalized strategies to prevent overstimulation, reduce anxiety, and feel more in control of your nervous system. You can explore my new online course, Prevent Overstimulation, Reduce Anxiety, and Combat Overwhelm, It's full of clear, supportive guidance designed to help you better understand your sensory needs and build resilience in everyday life. You can learn more about the course, coaching, or book a free discovery call at melanielambert.com. I'll pop the link in the notes below. You don't have to do this alone. There is help and there is hope. If this resonated with you, please share your experiences in the comments. What helps you recover? What do you wish others understood? Your story might be the encouragement someone else needs today. If you found this video helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more empowering content on navigating sensory challenges. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.